one of my films, In Search of My Sister, which is right here,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was screened at Barbican Cinemas.
Ah, right.
And
Okay, yeah.
and I remember when you were talking about Silo and Barbican, and
Uh,
it hit me. I'm like, I remember walking in that building up
yeah,
and down in those alleyways and skywalks and the concrete
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah,
And then I just remembered that I didn't realize that how
yeah,
similar
yeah,
it is to Silo.
yeah. It's well, I'm not 100% sure because I never met the production designer who did the first season. It was
Yeah.
a brilliant new production designer, Nicole, who did season two. But um, the Barbican obviously came to mind. But there was also years ago I was lucky enough. I was in Johannesburg, and I was lucky enough. I hope I've got the name right. It's called the Ponte Tower, and it's a circular tower that was built, I think, again in about the 60s by the famous Italian architect. And it basically has a central core which is empty, and it must have been a huge inspiration for the production designer of season one. Never got a chance to ask him, and
Mm.
in that tower, I think it might have changed since, but when I got a chance to go into it, and this is like in like round about God, sometime in like about 2007, it was like the better flats were at the top, and they threw the rubbish down in the middle, and it was hell. The bottom three floors were literally the mechanical world, the underworld. It was terrifying. So when I got into the silo, I was instantly. I kept saying to people, "Oh, this is based on that tower in Johannesburg," and everybody looked at me as if to say, "What are you talking about?" Um, but and it's funny. There's a film coming out. I haven't seen it yet. I'm really desperate to see it, called The Brutalist, which is about a brutalist architect whose name I don't remember, and I think it's 4 hours long, or nearly 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just looking at it. It's 3.5 hours long. It's
three and a
dark.
half hours
So
long. I cannot wait to see it because I think
I
a
think
lot.
it's
I think a lot of
sorry.
DOPs are sort of frustrated architects. There's definitely a symbiosis. There's definitely a symmetry between us.
Yeah. What cameras did you guys use? Was it Venice?
No, we used the Sony. I'm sorry, we used the Alexa, the Mini LFs. They used them in the first season, and the thing is, I did two things for season two. I changed the format for the first season was 2-1, and when I walked into the silo, I was like, guys, it's like even though it is vertical, the sets I could see were built for like 239, so like widescreen, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
And I also changed the lenses. I just, that's a very subtle thing that I wanted to do, just slightly differently, slightly more retro feel. And
sure.
but we used the Alexa Mini LFs, and it worked really well for season one. I love Sony's too. I think when you go onto a show like that and they're doing post production for the first season, you know, it's a bit of a willful choice to just want to change the cameras when they've got a process that's up and running. And I knew that, so I think changing the lenses and changing the ratio was like that felt like okay, I've got my way. Um, but I've worked in, I love the Sony Venice as well. I think you got to like be honest with yourself as a cinematographer. I think you've got to approach every project and really try and not be prejudiced about what you think you need to use, especially
Yeah,
lenses.
yeah.
There's so much ego with lenses. The sort of notion that if you work with some amazing set of G series anamorphics from Panavision, which are incredible, that you're going to imbue the story with some. And I love them. I don't get me wrong. I love to work with them, but I just mean that you've really got to try to put your ego at the door and go right. Let's
Yeah.
what's right. Like test. Work it out. You might be surprised, and I love it when I read about a cinematographer who's ended up using something left field because they worked out that was the best way to go. I think it's really fascinating how much different type of glass can affect, on a very subliminal level, how we perceive things,
Yeah.
especially sets.